my slides. This is
Yeah.
our second, all right, this is our second session. In the previous introductory session of HRM, we did talk about what human resource management is, what its role in the organizational functions. And the video is already available on AIU's page, social media pages. So today we are going to be starting with the most important function of HR, which is the staffing function. And in this staffing function, we have HR planning, recruitment, and selection. And I'll be trying to give you a quick overview because we have just 1 hour to cover it up. So I will be having a very quick overview of this. During the session, I would encourage, if you have any question, any comment that you would like to make, you can use the chat box because we won't be having time during the session to actually have a conversation. But by the end, I'm sure that we can take your questions and respond accordingly. So just to tell you that the main focus of strategic aspect of HR is, since we did talk about this thing that human resource management has a strategic aspect to it when it comes to being a part of organizational functions. So what do we mean by strategic aspect? You know, the companies, when they decide where they want to be in the future, how they want to proceed, how they want to progress, they would want to have the HR department play a vital role in determining that direction. Now, HR department is largely concerned with dealing the issues regarding the employees. I mean, it includes all the possible issues or functions, which include staffing function, which includes employee motivation, salary and compensation, benefits management, reward management, training and development function, safety and health measures. I mean, these are all the different aspects that HR department covers. So what do we understand by human resource planning? Just to keep it simple, it's about determining the right person for the right job at the right time. The main goal of HR department, HR planning, is to make sure that they have the right person for the right job at the right time. Now, the main aspects of this whole story are right job and the right person. It begins by determining the job. Let me give you an example. If you are just imagine that if you are running your own business. For example, if it is a restaurant, you're running a restaurant. So initially, if you start your business, you would be requiring maybe a couple of chefs, cooks, a couple of waiters, one manager. So with the passage of time, if your business grows, for example, if you would want to expand geographically, if you would want to have multiple locations set up in different cities, then there is a need. The need that is emerging is that you would need more cooks, you would need more waiters, you would need more managers. This kind of a need, when this generates within the organization would want to respond to it by coming up with the right number of people. There are different jobs that are going on within an organization, and at times, if one position is not able to complete one job, then the HR department would want to reevaluate, conduct a job analysis, and then determine that we may require a new position to be announced, a new job to be announced, according to which we would be hiring a new person. So based on different aspects that are going on within an organization, the HR department makes sure that it provides its services to identify the right number of jobs, and for that, the right people to work on. For example, this there is an HR session going on right now. So for this task, I am the right person to do it because I have my specialization. In HR, I've been serving as an assistant professor, teaching for last 2 decades in the capacity of a teacher of HR. So human resource planning is largely concerned with determining the need in the organization. The need is, how many people do we have today? How many people do we need in the future? What positions do we need? If we are going for expansion, what positions do we need? If we are going for reduction, maybe, if we are going for downsizing, maybe, then how many positions would we want to eliminate? Although this is not a very favorable scenario to be discussed, but this does happen within the organization. So in a nutshell, HR planning is about determining the right number of people, the right person for the right job. So it is the responsibility of HR. Since they do job analysis, they determine that there are certain tasks that are being left unattended. And in order to perform those tasks, they would want to have a specialized individual. All right. Just to give you an overview. So what is the strategic aspect in it? Whenever we consider any function that is going on within an organization, we would want to make sure that there is some strategic aspect to it. Now, the strategic aspect is generally considered by a test or a kind of an exercise that we know as SWOT analysis. You may have probably heard about it. If you are a management student, if you have been studying business management, then you should know about it. SWOT analysis is analysis of internal and external environmental factors of an organization. This tool is used to develop strategic planning for the future. Whenever a company wants to decide where they want to be in next 5-10 years, this is one of the tests, one of the tools that they use. What they do is in strengths and weaknesses, they evaluate their internal resources and try to figure out which resources are their strengths and which can be considered as their shortcomings or weaknesses. On the other hand, from the external environment, they would want to understand what are the different opportunities that they have, what markets do they want to tap in, what threats are there, what are the competitors doing which may harm their progress in the future. This test basically, it helps the organization to understand the core competencies. The reason why I'm talking about core competencies is that in our previous lecture, we did talk about this fact that humans are supposed to be a source of competitive advantage for organizations. And by competitive advantage, I mean that one factor which makes the organization unique and different as compared to all the other factors. So HR department would want to make sure that the employees which are working within an organization, they serve as a source of competitive advantage. So all the functions that the HR are performing, they should be well aligned with the overall organizational strategy. For example, if a company wants to increase its product line, like they are offering a certain product currently and they would want to offer more products in the future, so definitely they would want to hire more engineers. They would want to expand upon their research and development activities. They would want to increase upon their marketing activities. These are all the different functions which are there in an organization. So in order to understand the future direction, HR department needs to serve as a business partner. So HR planning is going to be well aligned with the organizational framework. Okay. So just a quick look at the employment planning and the strategic planning process. This is not a complicated kind of a graph, so you don't need to really memorize it. It's just to give you an idea. It all starts with identifying the organizational mission and vision, that what do they want to do. You know, all the functions of an organization, whether marketing, whether finance, whether research and development, whether HR, they obviously work hand in hand with the overall organizational mission. So once it is clear that what does the organization want to do, then it establishes its corporate goals and objectives, and then the human resource needs are established or understood. So the HR department would want to understand that what is going to be the demand for labor, how many people do we need in the future, and what is the supply of human resources. We are going to talk about this thing later in today's lecture. I mean, you do want to hire engineers, you do want to hire marketing managers, but is the market providing you, are there right people available in the market or not? This is another question that the HR would want to address. Obviously, they would not want to announce positions or jobs for which there are no people available in the labor market. Okay. So at the end, if the demand exceeds supply, means that if there is there are a large number of tasks that are being unattended to within the organization, if there are more positions which require more work and there are less people, then you would want to go for recruitment. we are going to discuss what recruitment is today. Recruitment means that reaching out to the pool of eligible and relevant applicants. On the other hand, if your supply exceeds your demand, for example, there are less jobs and more people available, then you would want to go for recruitment. Recruitment means that you would want to let go of few people. This is the complete opposite of recruitment. However, this whole process is going to start from understanding what the organization wants to do. All businesses, it is very critical. All businesses, all organizations, they need to have a forecasting ability. They need to have the ability to see in the future. According to that, all the strategies and all the activities are aligned. So in the staffing function, we start with job analysis. Now, what do we understand by job analysis? It is a systematic exploration of the activities within a job. An HR manager would want to try different data collection strategies. For example, an HR manager can do observation. Like if you go, if for example, if there is a factory that is doing some kind of production, so the targets are not being met. Like at the end of the day, the people are working, but at the end of the day, the targets are not being met. The goals are not being met. So the HR manager would want to have a visit of that factory and would want to see that how many tasks are being performed effectively and what tasks are there which are yet to be performed. I mean, are people overburdened? Are people not able to fulfill the responsibilities? This method is called observation. Like the HR manager would be spending a day or two in the factory, would be taking down notes, making a diary, trying to understand that what jobs are being done and what are the tasks that are left unfulfilled. So based on that analysis, he or she, the HR manager, would want to determine that how many people do we need for the future. This is just one example that I'm giving to you. Now, the result of job analysis is basically a twofold document. It results in two things. One is job description, and another is job specification. I will show you a template today, so don't worry about it. But try to understand that what is the job process of job analysis. It is a process of gathering information regarding a certain job. Now, what kind of an information is desired? For example, think of any task. Think of any task. Think of marketing manager. Think of a tutor, a teacher. Think of a job of a gardener. I mean, think of any job. Now, that job would have certain set of responsibilities, certain duties. Like at the end of the month, if they have to be paid, if they have to be given salary, they would be held accountable for doing some things. Like at the end of the month, they would be asked that, were you able to perform these duties that were given to you? So job analysis process basically observes, evaluates those activities that are going on within an organization and tries to determine that whether there are enough people within the organization to perform those tasks and duties, or do we need more people to perform those tasks, or there are more people, like if the organization is overstaffed maybe. Like if you have more people and doing less job, then you would want to cut down and want to let go of some employees. Okay. So I just mentioned that one of the methods of conducting information regarding job analysis is observation method, in which the job analyst watches employees directly or reviews film of workers on the job. I mean, this is one of the typical methods that goes on within the organization. It's called surveillance maybe, or CCTV cameras are being used for it. I mean, in companies, the office hours, the working environments, they are being evaluated so that the main decision maker, the HR manager, would be able to determine an opinion, would be able to come up with a final resolution that whether the tasks that are being performed within the organization do we have enough people to do that or not. Similarly, in order to gain this information, the HR manager can do interviews. The interviews can be individual, they can be group. Like the HR manager can go and ask random people working in that manufacturing factory and ask them, do you feel overloaded? how many working hours do you have to work, and are you able to complete your tasks daily after spending those 7, 8 months? Now, based on that result, the HR manager would determine that based on that result, the HR manager would determine that whether the jobs are being effectively and efficiently performed or not. All right. I hope you are getting this. You can give me regular feedback through the chat box. But since we have to cover the whole staffing functions today, so I will be going quickly through the slides. But as an instructor, I know that if I have already given an overview of what is supposed to be understood regarding a topic, then I should be proceeding with it. However, if you have any question, any opinion, any comment, you can use the chat box and send that question to me. So once again, why are we doing job analysis? Why is it being done? So it is being done to understand that the organization would want to hire people or let go of people. How many jobs are being fulfilled and how many jobs are left? This information is valuable to HR planning. Job analysis is the most appropriate tool to determine that whether the work that is being performed in the organization by the employees, it is being efficiently and effectively done or not. By now, you should be knowing what do we mean by efficiency and effectiveness. I would not be going into that detail, but if you don't know, write it down. And after this session, go on the internet, look for it. What do we mean by efficiency and effectiveness? So you'll get my idea. All right. Similarly, there can be structured questionnaires as well. There can be a conference. There can be a diary method. I mean, it depends on the HR manager that how would he or she want to gather the information from the company. The job analysis can be done based on the information gathered by multiple resources. It can be done through employee feedback, by interviewing the manager, conducting a survey. Survey can be of many types. It can be a physical printout of a questionnaire. It can be an online kind of a survey. I mean, it totally depends. All right. So once this information is gathered, like once the job analysis is complete, it results into two things. The result of job analysis is job description and job specification. Very quickly, what is job description? It describes the job. It lists down all the activities. And what is job specification? We'll get to that in the next slide. So job description, basically, it describes, it's a written statement of what a job holder does, how it is done, under what conditions, and why. In the next slide, I will be showing you an actual template of a job description. So don't worry if you're not able to understand, but just to give you an idea, the HR manager would want to have two documents. The one document is regarding describing the job. For example, if I ask you to write down a job description of a marketing manager, would you be able to do that? If I ask you to write down a job description of a teacher, of a HR instructor, would you be able to do that? Okay, if you guys are working within an organization, probably you would have your own job descriptions to work for. Otherwise, how would you know what are you working for? It is just like if I'm given a class, if I'm told by AIU to conduct a class, and if I don't have a topic, then what do I be working on? How are they going to assess my performance? How are they going to evaluate me? How are we going to make sure that this 1 hour has been productive? So job description, it gives a guideline of what is supposed to be done within a job. There is a common format to it. It's not very complicated. It has a title. For example, the title is uh, operational manager. I mean, I just thought of it. So this is a job description of an operational manager. So what are the duties the operational manager would be responsible for? Duty number one, looking forward to day-to-day operations within an organization. If he is an operational manager in the procurement section, then looking forward, looking after the supply chain and procurement issues. These are the different duties that are to be performed. Then some distinguishing characteristics may be the environmental conditions, who the job is reporting to. You know, it is very important to describe that where the job lies within the organizational hierarchy. If you apply for a job and if they ask you to come for an interview, you would definitely want to know that what nature or cadre of that job is. Is it an entry level position? It is a mid level position, or it is in the top management? You would be knowing, because according to that, your job role would be categorized. And obviously, according to that, you would be compensated. You will be getting the pay. Okay. So job description is pretty obvious that it lists down all the activities that are supposed to be done. What about job specification? I've written something as KSA. Can anyone think of what KSA stands for? You can use the chat box and give me a response if you know what KSA stands for. We are talking about the right person. Job analysis gives you an idea about the right job and the right person. So in job description, we have described the right job. In job specification, we are going to be talking about the right person. Any idea what KSA stands for? Any idea? And in the meantime, I can have my cup of tea because we're just done with completing our daily fast. And it is my like boost of energy that I'm having right now. All right. So do excuse me over there. All right. KSA stands for knowledge, skills, and abilities. You would want, as an HR manager, you would want to make sure that for a specific job that is to be performed, that you have highlighted in job description, you would want to have a specialized person to do it. For example, if your job description is about a car mechanic, like if your company wants to hire a car mechanic, then what would come in KSA? What would come in knowledge, skill, and abilities? Any idea? You can use the chat box to write down your opinions, and I would love to hear them. If the company wants to hire a car mechanic, so what would come in KSA, knowledge, skill, and abilities? In knowledge, maybe let me give you an idea. In knowledge, maybe you would want to have an idea of the degree qualification of that individual. If in your labor market, so if in your labor market, I think you do not have the access to chat box. So I really apologize because then you may not be able to reply, but we will have this talk at the end of the session. So in knowledge category, probably you would want to, if in the labor market in the country that your mechanic is working, or your organization is working, if you're able to find a car mechanic with a professional degree, then you would want to have this listed that we would want to hire a mechanic with a 10 years degree or a 14-year degree or a master's degree, probably a master's degree in car mechanics. Maybe in the skills area, you would want to write having 3 years of experience dealing with car issues in a renowned organization. And in abilities, should be able to work in a dynamic team, should be able to take up the challenges, should be all the things which are future related. So what you are doing is you are listing down all the characteristics, all the traits of that individual who is supposed to be performing that task, which we have already mentioned in the job description. KSA stands for knowledge, skills, and abilities. So in job specification, you would want to list down the knowledge, skill, and abilities of the individual. Okay. So it totally depends. It depends upon your labor laws, on your country's situation, that what kind of environment your company is working in, what are the norms going on in the country, what are the degree requirements of which certain jobs are being performed. For example, in our part of the world, in Pakistan, let me talk about an entry level job. For example, if somebody has completed a university degree, or he or she wants to apply for an entry level position, so in terms of knowledge, skill, and abilities, the employer would be asking that, what is your formal qualification in terms of your knowledge? Like what is the level of the degree that you have completed. In our universities, it would be 16 years degree at least. In terms of skills, the employer would be asking that how many internships have you done? What work experience do you have? What other things apart from your study have you done during your degree program that tells us that you are a suitable candidate for this position? And similarly, based on these informations, the employer will be determining that will you be able to perform this job effectively or not. All right, cutting the long story short, this is a basic job description template. Just have a look at it. I'll be going through it all the points one by one. The companies, they make this kind of a document. This is a basic job description template. And in this, you will find job specification as well. And you will understand that this is maybe an example of a job advertisement as well. If you would have seen a job advertisement in the newspapers or online, you will find a similar kind of a document in which there is a title listed. There are requirements that is it a full-time job? Is it a part-time job? We are going through the sections one by one. Then the company may find a section to describe who they are, just to give the employee an idea, just to give the potential employee an idea that who we are. There is a concept of employer branding. You know, we have heard about product branding. We know about Coca-Cola. It's a very iconic brand. We know about McDonald's. We know about uh, Microsoft, I, Apple. I mean, there are so many brands. But what kind of a recruiter are they? What organizational environment do they offer to the new employees who want to join the organization? So as part of being a responsible and a good employer, the company would want to present itself as a prospect to the candidate who is applying, that we offer the kind of environment, offer the kind of career track that no one else would be offering. And working with us, it's going to be a huge opportunity for you. So what is the company doing? They are trying to find out, they are trying to reach out to the best possible candidates available in the market. Okay. So this document, development of this document is primarily the responsibility of HR department. And they would want to develop a document to make sure that all the relevant information is there. Now, once again, what is the information? Starting one by one, the name of the position. For example, it is a marketing executive. Our requirement, for example, it is a full-time job, which means that around 40 hours a day. 40 hours a day means that 8 hours are 40 hours a week. Sorry, I'm so sorry. 40 hours a week. This means 8 hours a day, 5 working days, leading to 40 hours a week. Probably, I'm just giving an example. Then the company would want to list down what it is, what does it do. Then, as a job, as a marketing executive, this means there are list of duties and responsibilities that what you would be doing. And obviously starting with the main duties first and the secondary duties later. The important point is the suggestion given by this producer of the template is that you should have at least 6 to 10 duties and responsibilities listed. Just ask yourself that what is the logic, what is the reason of having the job duties listed? Because you know that when we are going to find the right person for the right job, he or she who is on the job, they should be knowing that what are they going to be held accountable for. So this job description is a document which is going to tell them that these are the things that you are supposed to do. They fall under your boundary, your domain, and you are responsible for that. Okay. So in next part, it is starting with job specification. Job specification is also included in this template. It is asking that a qualified candidate should have this much qualification, this degree requirement. And when it comes to the skill set, we encourage the employee to have certain skills related to that job, and it may include soft skills. When it comes to soft skills, my initial understanding with AIU has been on soft skill sessions that I have conducted with them there are around 10, 12 sessions already available on the social mediums of the university. They're all based around soft skills. And this is one area of specialization that I work on. These soft skills include communication skills, teamwork and leadership skills, emotional intelligence, self-leadership, time management, of having work-life balance, productive approach, and things like that. All the things which are usually commonly required for all kind of professionals, regardless of their area of specialization. Then you would want to list down the benefits. Since this one document is very interesting because it is having job description, it is having job specification, and it is a job advertisement also. Like you can add the missing areas and you can post it on the social media. You can post it in the newspaper. You can post it wherever you want just to get an idea that how many people would be interested in applying for this position. So if you may have come across different job advertisements in your time, you would find similar information over there, because at the end, it has written that contact us to apply. Probably the organization would want to share its email address or its postal address. However, they are looking forward to take the applications. Probably they would have a link of their website maybe, all right, on which there'll be a form. So hopefully by now you have been able to understand what we are talking about. HR planning includes finding the right person for the right job. How you are going to determine what is the right job and what is the right person? You are going to start with job analysis. Job analysis is a process of gathering, collecting information regarding a job. What is the outcome of job analysis? It results in job description and job specification. In job description, we list down all the activities that are supposed to be performed within a job. And job specification means the required knowledge, skill, and abilities which are to be possessed by the applicant or by the candidate or by the right person to be performing that job. Okay, so this all ends up becoming a job advertisement which you float in the market to find the right person for that right job. Once this process is complete, then we move on to our recruitment process. 1/3 of the staffing function is complete. The main goal of the staffing function is to determine, gather information. Then we move towards recruitment. Now, what is recruitment? Now, this particular job posting, you would want to hire a marketing executive, and obviously you would want to hire the best marketing executive available in the market. This is going to be the goal. So you would want to spread this job advertisement through mediums, through channels by which this information reaches out to the best possible marketing executive available, so he or she is encouraged to apply. Okay? If you just print this information and post it outside your door, how many people would be looking at it? It won't have that reach. If you just post it on your company's website, how many people would be looking at it? If you just post it in the Sunday newspaper, in a classified section of a newspaper, how many people would be looking at it? Think about it, that what is the most appropriate tool that a company can use in order to make sure that this information goes to all the eligible and relevant candidates. So the process of attracting that pool of eligible candidates is called recruitment. Recruitment is a process of gathering information of all the potential and relevant applicants that may serve as the right person for that job. You would want, as a representative of an HR department, you would want to share this information in the market. And there are different factors that affect an organization's recruiting efforts. For example, your organizational size. This is a very interesting point. For example, if you are one area-based organization, you're just working in one state, would you want to hire somebody who's very good from some other state, which is very distant, which is very far away? Although he or she may be the right person for that job, but there may be some complications. For example, that candidate would find it difficult to settle in your state. He or she would ask for travel allowance, maybe. Okay, so this complicates the recruitment process. You would want to make sure that who do you want to reach out to? Organizational size, employment conditions or labor market in the area, working conditions, whether your organization is growing or declining, these are all the different factors that affect your recruiting efforts. I did address it in context of employer branding, and I said that the reputation that an organization has, it is very important and critical. The reputation that an organization has in the market, it attracts the right number of people, the right talented pool to work for the organization. And an organization can be very successful if it is able to develop an image or a reputation that people are really looking forward to join that organization. Okay, so this affects the recruitment process as well. Let us quickly go through what are the different recruiting sources. It's not something very technical, so I will be just like speeding up a bit. You will be getting access to these slides after the end of the session. So if you do miss anything, you can always have a look at the slides once again. So you will be able to catch up. So the main broader categories of recruiting sources are internal and external. The organization can do internal recruitment from within the organization, and they can go outside in the market looking for the right person as well. Then there are employee referrals and recommendations as well, and some alternate strategies also. Let us quickly go through what these are one by one. Now, in internal search, what the organization can do is, if they have a vacancy, they can post it on their company's internal intranet, company's notice board, asking, encouraging their internal employees to apply for that position. For example, if there is a managerial level position open at the company floats the information within the organization that the people who are already working in some other capacity, they can also apply for this position. Obviously, there are pros and cons. There are advantages and disadvantages of this. Let us quickly see what can be the possible advantages of this. Obviously, the people who are working within the organization, they will feel that their morale is boosted. They are feeling more motivated to work in that organization because they know they are given opportunities to excel in their careers. The company already has information on the employee. The employee who is coming from within the organization is not going to be facing any kind of a cultural shock. He or she would not be taking time to settle in the process of the organization. They'll already be aware of it. So these are the different advantages that the company can enjoy. However, from the internal search, there can be some disadvantages as well. There can be undue rivalry among the employees. It can lead to unnecessary increase in internal competition. We have a concept of potential inbreeding as well. This is a proper HR term. Inbreeding means that you are promoting from within. You're not encouraging, you're not promoting, you're not encouraging that people from outside the organization come. Rather than you're focused on building your inner strength, which can be a disadvantage because whenever somebody comes from the outside, your company has a benefit, has an advantage that he or she can bring new ideas. Otherwise, the people who will be working within the organization, they have their advantages, but they may not be able to add in that value. But it is a trade-off. So before moving on to the external sources, let us quickly see what are employee referrals. To fill that certain vacancy that was announced after the job analysis result, employee referrals is one of the ways. Like you can ask the current employees of your organization to find somebody who they feel is appropriate for the position that is being announced by the organization. You know, the employees working in an organization, they'll be highly motivated to recommend somebody who is a good performer, because obviously their own performance, their own credibility within the organization would be at stake. Okay. So organizations, they do practice it. They float the information among the employees and they ask them to come up with a referral, to come up with a recommendation that how this position can be filled. Obviously, there are certain advantages and disadvantages. People can do, like they can go and look for their friends. Nepotism can be increased, and obviously. Then there are in external sources. In recruitment, we have external sources. I hope my internet is still working. I just got a message that internet was a bit shaky. If you've been, Dr. Valkin, if you've been able to hear me, I can continue.
Everything is quite fine.
Dr. Valkin, all right, sorry. I just got a message on my screen that the internet was a bit shaky, so I just wanted to ask.
Right now,
First.
as you just spoke, I had a
So,
sense of the
the external sources of recruitment. All right.
Go ahead, Professor Hassan. Everything is fine so far.
All right. All right. Continuing with the recruitment sources, that how the organization would want to reach out to the potential applicant. Externally, they can use the typical mode, which is called advertisement. The image that we saw earlier, the job description, the document that we saw, it is a kind of a advertisement as well. It is an example of an advertisement as well. You can go look up on the internet that you will be able to find. There are many different modes of giving advertisements. Now, the question is, as an HR individual, you would want to find out that what tool is the most effective when it comes to conduct your advertisements. Whether you would want to go on the internet and give the advertisement of the job, whether you would want to spread it on the company's website, what medium would you want to use? Nowadays, LinkedIn is a very appropriate or a very useful tool for the organizations. I hope most of you would know what LinkedIn is. It is a social networking platform, but for professionals only. It is a professional networking platform, and on which you can connect with organizations, with companies, their pages, and with other professionals as well. So most of the companies, they are using their LinkedIn profiles to share their job advertisements, to reach out to the right people, because it gives them an advantage. The advantage is that when somebody applies, somebody clicks on that job, they're able to see his or her profile. Now, if there is a vacancy of an HR instructor available somewhere, so when I click on that position, they will be immediately able to see my profile and will be able to judge whether I am a suitable candidate for their position or not. Similarly, in external searches, we have employment agencies, third-party recruiters working for us, headhunters. In Middle East, it is very common that people, they get job through employment agencies, through headhunters. These people, they work like middlemen. They have information of the companies, they have information of the candidates, and they try to find a suitable match. So as an applicant, you give your resume to them, you tell them what kind of a job are you looking for, and they would want to find the right opportunity for you. This is one of the ways or tools in which the organizations would want to find out. And they usually charge some percentage. It depends on the kind of a contract that they are able to have. They are usually called headhunters, but they charge some kind of payment or commission or compensation from both the company and to make that match. All right. So in our further recruiting sources, the companies can have a liaison, a contact, a connection with schools, colleges, and universities. Obviously, they will be able to find entry-level employees from there, but it is always good to have a kind of a association or relationship with the leading universities and colleges, because this is where the main pool of the main chunk of applicants is coming from. So good companies, organizations, they try to establish a relationship and they would want to find the right people from these institutes. But obviously these organizations are only going to give entry-level employees. Then there are some professional organizations as well. It depends. It can include labor unions. It can include some other kind of professional organizations that have a pool of people. If as a professional, if you join a professional club or a professional entity, a social club of a type, you will be getting information from from the job posters in your relevant group as well, that what kind of positions are coming your way and you can apply for that. Then in external searches, you have unsolicited applicants. By unsolicited applicants, we mean, all right, by unsolicited applicants, we mean walk-in applicants, the people who are, this is very interesting. If you want to work in a certain organization and even if they do not have any vacancy announced, you can always go and drop in your resume. You can go to their website and post your resume. This is called unsolicited applicant because you will be becoming a part of their portal, their database. So whenever they are looking for a relevant candidate, and if you find that you match that requirement of theirs, so they will be giving you a call and considering you. And then there is cyberspace recruiting, for example, that all that I believe that currently like 90% of the hiring is being done on the cyberspace, mediums like LinkedIn, mediums like company website portfolios. They are there and they are encouraging people to apply. And the traditional modes of recruitment are, with the passage of time, becoming more expensive, more costly, and less efficient, I would say. So, then in recruitment, we have temporary helps. Organizations, they do exchange their employees as well. In some scenarios, in some situations, they can always exchange their employees for a short period of time based on some kind of a contract. There is an aspect of employee leasing as well. So once the recruitment process is complete, the HR department, they have a pool of applicants. For example, in order to fill one position of marketing executive, you have around 12 applications, I would say. Hypothetically speaking, you have to hire one person and you have 12 applications that you have received from LinkedIn, from the company referrals, from internal and external sources of recruitment. So what are you going to do? You're going to start with the selection process. It always starts with initial screening. Initial screening is just evaluating the potential candidates' credentials with the job requirements that you have. Initially, you would want to make sure that this candidate fulfills the basic eligibility, basic criteria of applying for this job. For example, if you have asked for a master's degree for this position, if you come across a CV, an applicant which only has a 10 years degree, then he or she would fail to meet the minimum criteria and they would be screened out. You would not be going ahead with their application. So after initial screening, the companies can go for completion of application. Then they may have an employment test of a kind. Now, employment tests are being very innovative with the passage of time. Some companies, they are going for recruitment games. When you apply for an organization, they send you an email with a link in it. When you click on that link, there is a software running a 30-40 minutes simulation game, which is a kind of a selection tool in itself. It evaluates what kind of an applicant you are. And there can be other type of employment tests as well. If you pass the test, you move to the next round. If you fail, then obviously you are not being considered. Starting with 12 people initially, all these screening procedures are there so that at the end you are left with top 2 or 3 individuals only. Because only then you would be conducting the interviews. You cannot right away conduct interviews for all the applicants. It is not possible, not advisable. It is not an efficient way to do it. You would want to have interviews, one-on-one discussion interviews with the top shortlisted candidates only. So if after the interview you're able to find the right person for the right job, you offer them a conditional job offer because there is still something that remains to be checked. You want to check their background. You want to make sure that medically they are fit. You want to make sure all the possible things before offering the final position or signing the contract, because after that you will be facing legal obligations if you do not offer the job. Okay. So I hope that this selection process, it is like, rather than going with 20 slides, I've just summed up everything in just one slide. And this comprehensive approach completes all steps before a hiring decision is made. Starting with initial screening, moving on to application completion, employment test. Then there is an interview. If the interview is successful, conditional job offer is there. What do we mean by conditional job offer? Like there can be some negotiation or bargaining in it. The company may offer certain salary and the potential candidate may want to negotiate on that salary or some other terms of the job. Anyhow, so if all the steps are fulfilled, then a permanent job offer is made. So today we covered the staffing function in detail. In fact, in a bit too much of detail. So I've tried to give you an overview, a comprehensive overview, however, of the whole selection staffing function, which includes HR planning. In HR planning, we had job analysis leading to recruitment activities, leading to the selection activity. So then you are able to find the right person for the right